Hey guys, this is Pato Award, and you're listening to Indie Sports Podcast. And or what is that? Is that what it's called? Is that
That's
right?
that's perfect.
Or did I say something wrong?
No, trust me, man. I mean, I can edit all this. It's no
What
problem.
is
You
it?
can
What is it again? Indie Sports Podcast or what?
The
the
Indy Sportscar podcast.
Indie Sports Cars Podcast.
nice. Yeah, if you want to try it again, go ahead.
Hi guys, I'm Pato Award, and you're listening to the Indie Sports Car Podcast.
Welcome, ICP fans, to another episode of the Indy Sports Car Podcast. What is going on, Phil?
Not much, Frank. Thanks for calling me in there in relief for the beauty and the brains of the operation.
Yeah. That's about the best way to call Missy as far as this goes. I don't know what I am. If you don't have beauty, I mean, if you already have beauty and brains, what am I? Ooh, I guess I'm the
You're just Frank. You're right on, rock on. That's what you are.
right on, rock on,
Yeah.
Phil. Hell yeah. So Missy's a little bit under the weather still, guys, but she's feeling better. She'll feel good come this weekend, I'm sure. Pocono, baby, right, Phil? Pocono.
Absolutely.
Finally.
Going to the Poconos.
Hell yeah. We're both Northeast boys, Jersey boys, and it's always good to have a race that's only 2 hours away. Finally.
Yeah. I mean, this next two of the next four races at least are within relative range for us to actually get to, and two of the great circuits that exist in America for open wheel racing.
Oh, hands down.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, Watkins Glen last year was a blast. I gotta be honest.
And Watkins Glen is going to be even better now that they actually have the data to go. They're going to be running even faster, which considering how fast they were last year, I mean,
5 Gs through that boot, dude.
Yeah.
5 Gs. Good God. It's exactly why Sada crashed towards the end. He just had nothing left. His arms were dead.
yeah, the no power steering thing with those cars driving
That's
at
a
that
tight
circuit.
boot, man.
Yeah.
And it's a quick like drop and then a climb. Like, dude, when we walked it, that I'm still talking about it. I know, it's everybody's heard this, but if you haven't, it's the first time. I got to walk Watkins Glen last year. Thank you, Eric Filgaris. So my point being is the one thing that took me. Well, the one part I was like, wow, I'm just going to soak this in. I'm actually standing at the beginning of the bus stop, the famous bus stop, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care what series races there. The bus stop is always the bus stop, right? So,
Or
I'm
the
like,
inner loop.
no, I seen it and I laughed. I'm like, oh, it's so cute. Look how adorably it cuts off the actual technical part of this track.
Yeah.
A right, a left, a right, a left, bus stop. Right, a
Yeah.
left, a right, a left, a right.
A right, a left, and a right. But then the fact that an IndyCar basically takes it in one shot makes it like, I don't know what you can't even call it a bus stop. That's just like a pass through.
Yeah,
That's really,
yeah. I mean, if you hit it right,
it's like an
but
easy
if you hit
pass.
it
Like they
wrong-
should name it the easy pass for the IndyCars, because that's what it is. Because it literally takes 5 seconds, or it takes 2 seconds for them to get through it.
It kind of reminds me of turn to a Pocono. It's got to be the easiest turn in oval history.
It's not as easy. I mean, they've made it easier theoretically, but the tunnel is not. That's Indy Turn 2. So, I mean, that's why they probably can take it wide open, or it can be considered easier than others.
Again, there's only one line through it. You try to go any other line, and it's you're gonna hit the wall.
Well, that's for an IndyCar. I mean, other series have started to explore a second line, which actually made their racing a little better. I don't know if the IndyCars will be able to go out about a groove and a half and make that work. But
no, there's one line through there, and you get caught up side by side. It's You got to back off by the exit. Otherwise, if you're on the outside and you got somebody inside of you who's got the preferred line, you got to back off, or you're going to find yourself right in the wall.
Yeah, you're gonna go and knock the wall down coming off of turn 2.
Other than Rick Mears against Michael Andretti when the apron existed, was probably the last pass at turn 2 in Indy in history.
Well, that was turn 1.
No, that was turn 2.
It was turn 1.
Well, okay, back when the apron was, it was
turn 1 1991 Indy 500 because it was on consecutive restart. It was Michael got Rick on one restart, then they had the next then the next lap it was not 2 restarts, it was 2 laps. On the restart, Michael gets Rick going into turn 1, and then the next lap, Rick Mears goes and torches Michael and ends him right then and there. And as a Michael Andretti fan, it's depressing, but the fact
I don't know where Rick Mears got all that speed from. It was just like he had pushed a pass back when it didn't exist.
No, it's called he's the Rocket for a reason.
The spin and win, I mean, that was classic too.
Well, the spin and win, that Danny Sullivan was checking his hair in the mirror. That's why that happened. But yeah, everyone talks about how great Danny Sullivan looked. That's all you hear in 80s telecasts. You go and watch them on YouTube, and how stunning, the dashing Danny Sullivan. It's like, shut up.
Dude, he was gorgeous, and you leave that man alone.
Yeah, well, good for him. He was
the Elio of his time.
The Elio, okay, yeah. He didn't have the cha-cha or the paso doble in him, but yeah, he was a.
How do you know? He could. He's Danny
I know
Sullivan.
how
he can do anything.
I know how he announced. I don't think he had the paso doble in him.
No, he didn't even have announcing in him.
Yeah.
Good God, that was a short-lived thing. I don't. You know what? I used to not like Paul Tracy. Like a lot.
Oh yeah, me neither.
And since he's been on NBC Sports Network, I've actually come to like the guy. I gotta be honest.
PT has been a revelation with the broadcasting. I appreciate that.
Yes.
The interplay between him and Townsend, because Townsend has to be PC and he has to talk about everything analytically. Like him and Jan Beekes have to be related or something, because they both have to talk exactly the same. It's weird. Even though Townsend Bell can drive.
Don't you say anything bad about Jan Beekes. That's a personal friend of mine. We sit next to each other all the time.
Jan Beekes is cool. His salad game is strong, going all the way back to the 80s.
What does that mean?
His hair.
Oh,
salad. Yeah,
dude, great, dude, curls. Beautiful.
His salad
curls.
Game was strong.
Nose is a little bit. I can look, dude. The curls make me look past the nose. Yep.
He had a mullet going on with those curls back in the 80s when he drove in the Indy Lights Championship. He drove for AJ Foyt with that mullet. That added about 10 pounds of drag, but he won't admit.
That's why I keep telling. I just want. Okay, half of me is happy that JR still has that dumb mullet, because it has promoted that Twitter parody account, JR's mullet, that just lasts for days. I gotta tell you.
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was indie camping. Me and Foe, we both thought it was indie camping, but it's been confirmed it's not. We have no idea who that is.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that JR finally got another opportunity, but I think his hair's got a life of its own. It's kind of like when because I go and with the series, another series I frequent that isn't spoke about on here, that the guys, they had an all driver announcing team at Pocono, and 2 of the guys that were on pit road had mullets, and boy. One of them was called Mississippi Mudflap because the driver's from Mississippi, and the other driver's a young kid, and he keeps on growing it out. Like, he's full on owning it. I mean, this mullet thing is strong. It's a thing. But J.R. Hildebrand,
I think it took the place of giant glasses.
Yeah, no, the giant glasses are just arrogant. The mullet thing is because if you look back, at the 80s and 90s, everybody had, and you watch, I'm like, good God, they walked around with that hair? And I mean, it's like Al Unser Jr.'s hair was, like Al Unser Jr.'s hair
My
was
hero.
curly, and he looked like a mop, and he looked like he was 12, and he drove that Coors Light Silver Bullet Eagle, and then his hair kind of got calm,
I'm
and
more
it got
of a Allen Jr. Valvoline day.
yeah. Once he got the Valvoline, he put it in his hair, and it got all straight, and but then
He was
Michael,
shampooing with Valvoline.
yeah,
Well,
with-
I wonder what weight it was.
it's either that or it was Domino's grease or whatever, because he drove the hot one. And when he
Oh,
drove the
God.
Domino's hot one, and then
We don't talk about those years. We only like to focus on Valvoline and Marlboro.
well, he won races with Doug Shearson, and he also almost won the championship. His dad was crying about beating him for the championship in '85.
Oh.
That was dramatic, that championship, when Al Senior beat Al Junior. When Al Junior's 30 years.
He should have. He should have. You know, Al Senior should always beat Al Junior every time.
Not really, not in that case.
But
saying.
Well, it's kind of like Mario and Michael. You know, Mario taking a 500 away from us.
Yeah,
That was great. I was so happy to see that.
yeah. Well, I mean, whatever. With the it's funny that Michael had to go through 3 marriages and then retire from racing to finally be able to win the Indianapolis 500. But it's with regularity, since he basically.
I don't really count a team owner when you're a driver as winning a 500. Sorry. What did Michael do but, pay for it, really? It wasn't him, it was Herta, really. He just
Well,
funded
in 2005 it was Andretti, but it was Andretti Green, whatever, with Dan
Again,
Weldon.
So he had half of the money in. That's what I mean.
And
You're a driver, you win. Team owners, okay, you've put up the bill for them to win. That's how I look
what
at
about
it.
Penske? Everyone talks about how great, but Penske has 16.
Penske's never driven behind a wheel before. He's the
Yes,
team
he did.
owner.
Yes, he did,
Well,
but not
you know
in
what I mean.
IndyCar.
No,
He's
that's what I mean.
He's a racer.
I'm not saying he wasn't. I'm just saying he's the rich guy that backs a team. I mean, sorry, I don't. I don't consider that. Yes.
Hey, if
the
Roger,
team,
I'm sorry. As an aside, Frank, I didn't want to interrupt you. I'm trying to get employed by Penske Automotive Group. Penske Racing is outstanding.
I feel the same way, dude. Especially willpower. Am I right, Phil?
Well, I know you and you love William and Liz and Bo and the water bottle.
I
and
just kind of just backed into a corner where you got to talk great about Will. It's just this is funny to me.
Well, I mean,
because I know I know where your feelings really lie. That's why this is so inside. I'm sorry, guys.
No, the thing it's simple. I'll let everybody know. It irritates me to death watching Willpower win races. It's kind of like when Michael Schumacher dominated Formula One. But the reality is, I know he's
damn good. Legends in the racing.
Let's calm down. Seriously.
I know. I'll take my fanboy
simmer
hat
down.
off. I'm
now.
sorry.
I mean,
I'm
the
sorry.
guy is still racing. He's still got a few more years left. As long as his body doesn't get worked like that water bottle, he does have a few more years left. and frankly,
yes. What?
Frankly, I mean, he can still. He's. Are you going to let me talk, or are you just going to keep on stepping on me?
Well,
the fact is, I know that the kid.
My name's Frank.
Yeah, Frank. No, you're right on.
It's a joke.
You're rock
it's
on.
A joke.
That's the thing.
Good God.
Right on, rock on. That's what your name is. I don't even know that your name is Frank.
Well,
but
that's why I was saying it like that.
Yeah.
Now you know.
Oh my God. Well, I really walked into that one. Asking for, I'm hoping that Roger Penske is listening, which I know he isn't. He's busy trying to take over the world or something, while I'm on here begging for a job. But that should go and coordinate easily into. It's a segue into talking about Pocono and how Penske's probably going to win this weekend, right?
Definitely, dude. I mean, did last year, and last year was a rain out. One of the very few rain. You realize we haven't had a single rain race yet this year.
That's crazy, actually.
Well, I remember last year. I don't know if we did or not prior to Pocono, but oh boy, did it pour last year. So they postponed it to Monday, and Mondays are bad for me for work. Because for some reason I'm not going to get into it. Trust me on it, though. So I'm driving. Missy had to work. There was no getting out of it. So I'm driving up there in my work van just in case, by myself. I get right to the gate and I get an emergency call. So I have to drive 2 hours back, right? Flip a switch on. I'm not even joking. Flip one switch, leave, drive back to the race, and I had just gotten there right as Pagenaud crashed. And then Will took over the lead and won that race. And I got to see Will win a race live at Pocono with like about 50 other people.
Yeah,
it was a Monday.
I was supposed to go back on the Monday. I had gotten tickets, and my buddy couldn't go because he couldn't get a babysitter for his daughter. And then he would have been able to on Sunday, but it got rained out, and we had already battled 2 races earlier in the summer with the rain, or 3 actually, counting the Saturday race in June. But
another series, yeah.
And then. So then on Monday I was going to go, and then I didn't go. And for about 180, 170 laps, I was very mad about it. And then Ryan Hunter-Reay's engine switched off randomly. And then once the last 30 laps happened, I didn't really feel so bad about that. But
yeah, it was like 40 some laps left to go when Pagenaud crashed, I think.
Yeah. And then it was that restart, and after that restart where Hunter-Reay, after dominating basically that 3/4 of the race, had that engine issue, which must be like a Honda thing. It has to be a Honda thing. And
oh, yeah, dude.
Open wheel series have engine problems.
Has one Chevy engine gone that we've seen this year?
I wouldn't believe so unless it was with one of the other teams. Nothing happens to Penske. I know that. They're bulletproof over there.
I can't remember one Chevy engine failure yet, but oh boy, can I remember a big one, Indy 500.
About 3 of them.
Well, just the Alonso engine, dude. I mean, do you think Alonso would have at least podiumed if his engine didn't fail?
Alonso could have won that. Alonso was lining himself up to win that race.
Well, I didn't want
would
to
he have won that
far,
race? I
yeah,
don't think he would have. I don't think he would have. I mean,
with Herta in his corner. Are you kidding? Alonso was primed. Was perfectly set up to win that race, man.
No, I think that Rossi would have. If Rossi didn't blow, Rossi had the best piece out of that whole Andretti group, which was something considering how he had won the year before, and then and then this year his car was just solid. It had a real solid piece. He could have repeated, and then he had his problem.
But then Hunter-Reay,
Oh yeah, and then Hunter-Reay. I mean, last year he should have won the race. I mean, him and Townsend had the race locked.
Yeah, didn't the entire Andretti stable blow engines? Almost?
No, other than Marco and Takuma.
Yeah,
there were 6 Andretti cars. Ryan Hunter-Reay blew up. Alonso blew up.
Yeah.
Rossi, I don't remember anymore.
Electrical issues.
So yeah. So all
mechanical.
Yeah, those are 3 of the 5. I know they had 6. So I'm forgetting.
Who was the 6th?
Jack Harvey.
That's right.
Jack Harvey drove for Michael Shank. They crashed.
That's right. Yeah, they were involved in that crash. They didn't crash themselves. They were involved in an incident. I think the Dixon incident.
No, the Dixon incident was. Oh man.
I threw that out there because it's really the only incident I can remember from Indy.
Oh yeah, well everyone, that was one of the scariest things I've ever seen.
Oh my goodness! Especially when he went into the fence. Oh no. Yeah. The last thing you want to say. I was so
glad that Scott Dixon got out of that car. It was just scary. I mean,
held your breath for easily 4 minutes until you finally seen him moving. Like, oh, thank God.
Yeah. Takuma, Rossi finished 7th, and Marco finished 8th. So those 3 made it. The other 3 didn't. It was Jay Howard that was involved in that wreck.
That's what it was. Yep.
For Tony and Sam in that 3rd car. Blew up my entire fantasy team because he was a low value. He was the cheapie pick as
wasn't Beach, was it? No, that was Foyt. Or I mean, that was Was that Foyt or was that
No,
Carpenter?
Jay Howard. Jay Howard drove for.
Who'd Veach drive for?
Veach drove for AJ, and AJ
That's what I
didn't even
thought.
know who he was because he was like he looks like he's 12 years old. That was what he said to Robin Miller. And I was like, no, who's that guy? He's like, that's your driver for this. What? He's 14. He's like, yeah, well, that's your. Oh God, those two videos, those Foytisms.
Did you hear what he said at Toronto?
No.
He said that he has a horse and he's more interested in the horse winning in some race the next day because he said that he'll make more money off the horse than he will these two cars.
Well, the way them things are performing there, I would tend to agree with the living legend.
I
think that AJ could probably jump into one of those cars and run better than anybody he's hired in the last few years.
I would certainly hope so. He's AJ Foyt.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could put Tony in that car, one of those cars, and they'd run better than what they've been doing the last how many years.
You know what, dude? I don't know. Munoz and Daly, I don't think is a good match. Munoz is good, but he needs a veteran in that garage, man. He needs like a Servia type deal, you know? Because Munoz has a lot of talent. He just hasn't had a whole lot of opportunity to learn. Because in Andretti, he was basically the setup guinea pig, you know? For everyone else in Andretti, so I mean, Larry Ford
minus Hunter Ray. I mean, Hunter Ray did his own thing, and then Andretti's takes everybody else's setup, and
pretty much
Rossi was a rookie, so I mean last year, so just as so I mean, but
Munoz
I could see that.
We'll try this on this one. We'll go off strategy, even though he keeps finishing in the top 3 rows and everything. We're going to bring him off strategy just to try something different. Like, why?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know. But
I think that the Munoz, I mean, it's been proven the way he's run at Indy that he definitely has it, and he has the skill, and he's showed it in Indy Lights as well.
Sure
it's just a case of finding the right spot, the right combination.
I think he's at the right spot. He just needs a better, I don't know, but I've heard things here and there that the garage is separated, really. Yeah, I've said too much. So, but yeah. Anyway,
a veteran presence wouldn't hurt.
No, because I like Connor a lot. Don't get me wrong. I like Connor a lot. As I see him all the time. He always stops and says hi to us. So I respect Connor a lot. I really do. But I just don't think Connor and Munoz, his teammates, really are good together because they both have different ways of racing. They both have different styles. So it's really hard to use each other's data because such a different driving style.
Yeah.
Plus, they're both pretty much still really young and on in IndyCar to begin with, so they can't really learn much off of each other.
Exactly.
So there you go. I mean, look at Joseph. What Joseph Newgarden's doing in Penske because of all the veteran leadership around him that he's been exposed to this past year. I mean, Joseph's doing great. I mean, I don't think he's going to win the championship, but he's going to come really close.
Yeah, I mean Newgarden going to Penske is, one of the big moves that's happened for this series in a long time, mainly because it goes back to, having an American in one of the major teams. That's number one. But, the other thing is what you're talking about with William, with the defending series champion in Jean Girard and
Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man, Spider-Pig, dancing fool that he is.
What are you talking about? That hair is great, and he is a great dancer.
His hair has not moved since the Clinton administration.
Wow.
When he had a dash in his name. When he was Helio, when Kenny Mayne used to say, "There's Helio Castro Neves." That's when. See, I always say that because that's his actual name. They told him to remove the hyphen out of it. It's kind of like Ayrton Senna da Silva, and they told him, and he just decided to get rid of the da Silva, and he just became Ayrton Senna. It's the same way
I
it was
actually
Haley
have an Ayrton
Cash.
Senna. I have an Ayrton Senna. It's kind of like the 64 scale miniatures.
Mhm.
I think it's a Hot Wheels actually, and it was like I think his rookie year, and it had the dash and the Ayrton. So I thought that was pretty
Ayrton,
cool.
what is his what do you call Tolman, that the Tolman that he actually almost won the Monaco Grand Prix. If he was running for a decent team, he'd have passed freaking Alan Prost in the Monaco Grand Prix. Yeah, that he would have won that run. And who would have finished second? Stefan Beloff, who would have been Michael Schumacher before Michael Schumacher.
Just didn't get the equipment.
Well, he passed away at Spa in the Spa 1,000 kilometers in a major wreck in Eau Rouge corner, and before we never would have known because he was going to move up to Ferrari supposedly, but Stefan Beloff was that first German superstar.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought
it's all right.
Something different.
And then that's before the Mercedes. That was back in the 80s, like 86, and then that was before the Mercedes. I was 1. That was when before Mercedes with Sauber came in with their young drivers, which included an M. Schumacher, Carl Wendlinger, and I think Heinz
Harald. You have the
Harald.
funniest names for drivers, dude. I've never talked to anybody that has
a Hobble reference there.
But you have a name for every driver. It's hysterical.
Well, yeah. I mean, if I don't like them, it's funnier. But when I do like them, it's something. But you like
my Billion Power, right? I mean, I made that up myself.
Well, William is the William thing. I just go with it because.
Well, no, Billiam B.
Billiam.
Well, because William, you could be a Bill if you're William, right?
Yeah.
So I just call him Billiam.
Well, that's official enough.
Thank you.
Throws him off a little bit. He needs to be thrown off once in a while because he's so intense.
Yeah.
Intense.
He's very focused, hyper focused.
Yeah. And he gets all he's lightened up now, so that he's a little more tolerable than he was a couple of years ago when he got his lunch. When he got his lunch handed to him by Dario Franchitti for years, but that's beside the point.
I love those years, man. Dario and Will battles. I mean, especially Toronto, where Will tried the same move twice and failed twice miserably.
Yeah, they both whined just as much, and it was funny. But we took side. Everyone would take sides. It was great because this is the thing. I'll always say this: when it comes to racers, every great racer is a whiner. It's just if that's your driver, you're going to you'll deal with it and you'll defend it. And if you don't like the other driver, you're just going to hate it. So it's really what it is. That's the.
Well, I never didn't like any of them. Even Dixon, I never liked Dixon. I never had a problem with Dixon. I love the rivalry, Yeah. So, I mean,
but how can you not like? I mean, Dixie is the most. They always talk about it. The guy's got like 40-something wins, or close to 40 wins, or whatever he has. 38 wins.
He'll be a Hall of Famer.
Well, he already is a Hall of Famer, and he's still going. Yeah. And he's going to probably go win Le Mans. He's probably going to win.
Well, you remember he goes to Le Mans first time ever in the Ford GT and puts down the fastest lap.
Yeah, well, when you're that sick, I mean, the guy was 19 years old in a Pac West, toilet, and he won at Nazareth.
I mean, that.
Yeah, I mean, he was 19. He had I saw the picture of what he looked like back in the day, and that was something. Some look
New
he had
Zealanders and Australians, they don't age well, but Brazilians do not crack.
Yeah, well, there's rumors about Elio's hair, anyways. That there's rumors about
bedheads. That's all he uses is bedheads.
No, it's called Just for Men. That's what it's called. But
well, after the fact, bedheads.
Yeah. Bedheads.
That's what he called it. I don't know, because Dario, it was before What race was it? I don't remember exactly what race it was before, but they were honoring Elio and TK, and Dario Franchitti goes up there and just eats it, man. Like, he tries a few different jokes, and TK knew it, and Elio knew it, so they just stone-faced him.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I felt so bad for Dario, but he hated it so bad. Did you hear it?
No.
Oh, you got to go back and, you can go back in the archives and find it through our social media, which is www.theindysportscarpodcast.com. Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Thank you. And just real quick, TV broadcast schedule, August 19th, practice 1 is Saturday at 9 to 10:15 a.m. That's a live stream on all your favorite live streamings platforms. Figure them out yourself. Then later on that day, Saturday qualifications live 1 to 2:30 p.m. That's at NBC Sports Network. And then later on, the final practice at 5 to 5:30 p.m. Another stream the same day, the 19th. And then the race is at 2 o'clock p.m. August 20th, NBC Sports Network. So there you go, guys.
Oh, so they actually have they actually are going to show qualifying live again, which is nice for once.
Yeah.
That's one thing I'll never understand. And it gives me a chance to go and compliment the job that the NBC sports team does. I mean, Kevin Lee, after his fill-in role at Texas last year.
Oh, he's awesome.
Kevin Lee is a total class, true pro, and he lets PT and Towns get into their little hissy fits together, and they go off and do their thing, and Kevin Lee just goes and steps in when he needs to. That's a great trio. I mean, I'm a Lee Diffie guy, but Lee Diffie, they figured out Lee Diffie should do the Formula One, and whenever they want him to do rowing or whatever other Olympic sports or whatever, they can go and send him there.
Oh, shit. Oh, I'm sorry. Bleep.
You didn't hit the dump button, but Lee.
But I'm sorry. This just in, motorsport.com confirms Sebastian Bourdais giving all clear by doctors to race. Sebastian Bourdais, I'm just going to read this real quick. It just came a minute ago. David, I'm sure David Malsher approved it since he's the chief editor. But Andrew Von Leeuwen, Leeuwen, Sebastian Bourdais, Llewellyn. Yeah, but whatever. Doesn't matter. Yeah. So, just came in a minute ago. Sebastian Bourdais says he's been cleared by doctors to return to racing, although it's not yet been confirmed when he'll make his first IndyCar start since his Monster Indy crash. The Frenchman was sidelined, blah, 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 blah. We knew all this. 118 G impact. I didn't know that number. Wow, okay. No wonder his pelvis.
He's coming back at the Glen. Look at that.
Is that what it says?
That he's only going to run the 2 road races. He won't run.
That makes sense.
I mean, I would think in a million years I wouldn't want to be going back to Pocono after what happened at Indy, at least for, a year. The Gateway, I think, wouldn't be so bad, but I think it's probably sketchy because of the kind of G's and the downforce numbers that they're going to have there at Gateway for a first time. But running the Glen, I mean, I guess it would be the same thing with the Glen because of the high G loads, but it's less likely that he's going to go and have massive off, you would think.
Well, it is on our Facebook fan page and our Twitter already. And once again, Phil, where can they find all that good stuff?
The Indy Sportscar podcast of Indy Sports. You need to go and inform me about this before we do the show, so I don't look like a complete...
IndySportscarPodcast.com. It's very simple.
There you go.
The name of the
all
show,
right.
and throw .com at the end, and bada bing, bada boom, Phil.
There you go.
There
I got it now.
Yeah, that's right, sir. Don't worry. Stick with me, kid. I'll have you tooting through silk. Well, after my outburst.
I'll be tooting through something. I don't know if it'll be silk, but...
Well, you know what tooting stands in for, right? But this is a clean podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. We work like Jerry Seinfeld and Jeff Foxworthy around here.
That's how it works. And that, aside from me screaming out profanities.
Yeah, this is definitely out of my realm. I've usually broken through with a few expletives by now on my old stomping grounds when I used to do this as a regular thing, but
Yeah,
I
you were not clean at all, dirty as
nope.
anything. Well,
Yeah,
see,
well,
Jay and I argued about this for a good 2 weeks. Before we started the show about whether it be clean or not clean. And me personally, I found morefrontwing.com on my way to a race because it was on my brain. Like, hey, I wonder if there's a podcast for it, right?
hmm
So I figure, podcasting is becoming the new radio anyway. I mean, who subscribes to Sirius but me and other Opie and Anthony fans or Stern fans, pretty much.
like me.
Okay, there you go. You listen to FM AM radio, why would you subject yourself to that?
Oh, it's awful.
It is really terrible. It's still the same 35 songs over and over and over.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of commercials.
Mhm.
Anyway, you come commercial free over here, and it's targeted towards what you really want. So, dads want to put it on for their kids. That's why we did it, for the kids, basically. So, not for nothing. I mean, my first race was with my dad, and in this day and age, I'm sure that happens a lot. So there you go.
Mhm.
And you want to keep them occupied, so listen to my wacky.
Yeah, you want to listen to the wacky musings of Frank Linker for your children. If you really want to bring
Frank
up
Links,
Frank Links,
Phil,
aka
whatever
Rycon,
your full
Rock
name
On, Right On, whatever.
And that's funny. No, I don't care. I mean, people know what my full name is by now.
AKA William Powers, Love Child, AKA.
No, lover, not love child.
Well, there you go. He said it. I didn't. So whatever. You can have that discussion with Liz in the water bottle.
And I will at Pocono on pit lane as I'm watching the race with her, behind Will's pit box.
Well, enjoy that.
I will. It'll be enjoyable. And I think shout out to Faux Will Power, who's been doing Will's social media ad during race weekends. I believe he's going to be doing it at Pocono, Sonoma, I think for the rest of the year, actually. So I don't quote me on that, but more power to him. So I'm happy for Faux. So we're right on. I mean,
nice pun. Nice job with the more power to him.
Oh yeah, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah.
I think he might have changed it to something else. But the artist formerly known as the Faux Willpower.
Oh.
But he still has the big willpower face.
Yeah.
It's funny. Oh yeah, he doesn't want me to tell people that, so then they can find him. Yeah. It's funny because we'll go to a track and I'll see what kind of glasses he has on, so I'll tweet out the Faux Willpower is wearing these color glasses. Then all of a sudden and then the next time I see him, it's different color glasses, and he's like, why you gotta do that every freaking race,
because it's part of the fun.
I know.
There's the thing with it's
funny.
part of the IndyCar deal.
You know that big mascot, the Firestone, the Firehawk?
Yeah.
Well, we were watching qualifying behind Will's pit box, and he stole my Mountain Dew bottle out of my book bag. And I had to chase him down the pit lane, chase him after my Mountain Dew bottle.
Mm.
Yeah, the freaking Firehawk. And then I finally caught up to him, and we started like play fight. Like I was like, put up your dukes, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, people were laughing, but
then the Firestone Firehawk doesn't get provided beverages while he has to wear that awful outfit. That's awesome.
Not mine.
Yeah.
He's just walking by, and then all of a sudden, shoink, and he takes off. I'm like, are you kidding? I gotta chase after this lunatic. It was funny though.
You're taking Frank Link's Mountain Dew bottle? Like, come on, you can't do that.
Yeah.
You could definitely take the bottles out of other teams' pit boxes, but definitely not Frank Link's.
Well, just to sum up the Bourdais thing.
Yeah.
Blah 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 blah. Bourdais has already indicated he won't compete on any ovals between now and the end of the season, which paves the way for a possible return to Watkins Glen Sonoma. There you go, guys. So, yeah, we're getting Esteban. Yeah, we're going to get Esteban. So that was the only.
Well, at
wild
least you
card
know
for
you're going to have a
Pocono.
caution in both of those races. So
Let's
at
just
least
hope.
you have one bathroom break.
Let's just hope there's no secondary incidents.
Well, it's Esteban Gutierrez. That's his middle name. I mean, every team he's driven for, he's either crashed or been so bad he couldn't even score points. I mean, Haas, as the Europeans like to say, Haas. I mean, he was so mediocre last year at Haas.
He's terrible.
That he got fired, and I mean, their car's even worse this year. I mean, but. Kevin Magnussen actually scores points when the car doesn't break, which seems to be all the time. I mean, Jolyon Palmer's got that luck now with Renault, and now he's going to get canned. He's getting railed just like his dad used to. But I mean that's an aside.
Who's Jolyon Palmer's dad?
Jonathan Palmer, former Formula One driver, sports car driver. He runs a bunch of British racing circuits now and British racing series. He used to test for McLaren.
Okay.
Too. He ran for Tyrrell.
Don't know much about Jolyon Palmer, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
I don't really give much. I mean, F1 is. I don't really get too involved into F1's like drivers or anything. Just the races and all, because it's just fun to just. It's. I can't believe they're going with the Halo, dude. I cannot believe they're doing it. Next year, it's official. They're doing the Halo.
I mean, I think with the late. I mean, this is Pocono, so it's
you have to remind me. I know.
It's close to all of our hearts, and
Very
I
much
remember being there. I mean,
I can't believe it's
for
been 2
the
years.
late, great, legendary Justin Wilson. It brings up the point and some of the other incidents that have came along. I mean, Scott Dixon's crash at Indy.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff that's happened, Weldon, the late, great, legendary Dan Weldon, et cetera, et cetera.
Dixon's crash really proved that the DW12 is built very well, I must say. I mean, Murphy's Law is Murphy's Law, but, that chassis is something else. I mean, Dixon's alive because of it.
Yeah, that the progress in IndyCar chassis from like 1992 to now. I mean, you're talking about 12. I mean, you're talking about 20 years, and the amount of incidents. And Bourdais is another example, not with the flying, but just the crash.
Oh, the
and
crash itself. Yeah.
The sheer.
If that was in a 1992 Lola, what do you think?
1992 Lola, we're talking about, I mean, the amount of crashes that happened that month and the severity of them.
Really bad.
They were really bad. And it's like now these guys have injuries in the worst of it, but they're still driving, or like it goes back to the thing like with the Halo and some of these other safety inventions. It's like, yes, you can say it takes away from the spirit of what open wheel racing is, but I mean, I
think it looks ridiculous.
Justin Wilson fan and a Brian Clausen fan, and what happened to him. There was a cage, but the fact is it was still exposed.
Yeah.
And the incident that happened...
It was secondary, too, by the way.
Yeah.
Audible flagging system, throwing it out there.
Yeah.
It needs to be in every series.
Yeah, that would have been something that could have helped, but...
it would have 100% helped.
And I'm not... The point is, I want to see it before I go and make the full judgment on that. I don't think... I'd rather see my favorite drivers, people that I want to see on a weekly basis, still be there, because they have lives, they have their families, they have things that they've built, and if it means that they're going to be there, then I'll deal with. I think they can deal with it. The teams can deal with it. All can be dealt with.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense because all of the notifications right now for a full course yellow is visual. You know?
Yeah.
And, I have a driver on here. I'm not going to blow his spot up right at the moment, but, you guys know who I'm talking about if you've been here before or listened before. If not, just binge the 144. You'll find it. They're only an hour plus long each. Anyways, so, yeah. Well, what I'm trying to say is, totally
audible flagging.
Yes, thank you. There's a few it's just, it's all visual, and, you figure, I heard a stat where a driver doing like 200 plus miles an hour, right? They're hyper focused, right? They're hyper focused on a box about, you figure about 5 to 12 feet long and about 5 foot wide in front of them. That's it. That's all they see, and everything else is, most of them don't find out about it until their engineer comes over the headset and says full course yellow. You know what I mean? And how long does it take? Well, it was the whole Justin thing. That was 9 seconds after Sage hit the wall. I mean, just easily taken care of if everybody on the track knows exactly when a full course yellow is, and they just lift. It's very simple. I mean, Pirelli's been using it all year so far. Have you heard anything out of Pirelli?
No.
Exactly. Yeah. So I guess results speak for themselves. I'm just waiting on some news. I keep saying it, but just waiting on the news to release a presser that we're really happy about. But again, just everybody, the hashtag Drivers Lives Matter. At Audible Flagging on Twitter and on Facebook. And check it out and read up a lot more. I don't want to, go through the whole thing because we'd be talking about it for another half hour. But all the information's on there. Any questions you might have, and we're always open for any questions, really. So at any rate, but yeah, it's got audible notification along with visual notification. It just makes the most sense. And that's what I was saying. I had a driver on here once that he said that when he finds out there's a full course yellow, and if the car in front of him slows down because of it, he'll pass them on purpose because, they don't freeze. Well, technically they freeze positions, but, he tries to pass them because if it's like, say, Road America, and it's a 4-mile road course, and the full course yellow happens at turns 3, and you're at turn 11, people really aren't paying attention to you. So you try to get that spot. Well, this, what the audible flagging system does is it freezes positions, period. And, because everybody knows it at the exact same time, instead of 25 drivers finding out about it 25 different times after the initial incident. I mean, it just makes so much sense. And, it's app-based, so the fans at the track, they can download the app and they'll know along with everybody else at the same time. It just makes so much sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, there's a lot of politics and money involved in, chassis builders losing it, say, because of the lack of secondary instance that the audible flagging system does help, create the percentage go way down. So they're the only ones that really, I guess, suffer from it. But holy freaking well, I'm so sorry about your profit margins going down a little bit. But, that or a life.
Yeah.
Okay. Like back up.
Yeah.
Everybody back up and, call a spade a spade. That's what it's all about. That's the only reason why they're whatever. Moving on. Like I said, I can go on and on about it. But it just needs to be a part of notifications race-wide in general, period. It just makes too much sense. The more safety, the better, as far as I'm concerned. Can't be safe enough, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, if you're a firefighter, if you are a fighter pilot, right, and you're used to, flying, like, let's say, the F-18 Hornet, right, and then it's got all the missile fired at you. You know about it right away, right? Because it's audible, right? It's kind of has to be because how can you get a visual on a missile fired at you when you're flying a jet? Makes sense. What if they told you, by the way, that system doesn't work? We haven't fixed it yet, but have fun. Would you fly the jet?
No.
Exactly. What's the difference, really?
Yeah.
Ideologically, what is the difference between? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the best. It really is the best kind of metaphor, or I guess finding another world thing that exists. I don't know. I'm bad with that kind of stuff. Anyway, just makes sense. Okay, so anyway, like I said, let's move on.
Yeah.
All right, so I don't know, Phil, you want to do a prediction for Pocono?
Yeah, I mean, I was saying that it's going to be a Penske car that's going to win. I just kind of, I figure J-New continues on his momentum swing. Yeah, and then
Joseph Newgarden, everybody.
Joseph Newgarden. I thought that people are in the know. I mean, he has plenty. I mean, he's the wonderkind of IndyCar racing. Now that he's, I mean, I would like to see him do those videos. Yeah, I mean, I would like to see him do those videos. Like, do you know who this guy is? Like he used to when he was with Sarah Fisher, and he had his picture up, and he's showing himself to these people, and they have no idea who it is. Like now they should know. They should know by now. But I think he's gonna win, and win this weekend, and get his first 500-mile oval 500-mile win versus the short oval, which he dominated at Iowa Speedway last year. I think it'll be
that was domination I've never seen. I mean, that was like he had the entire field lapped within 10 laps, man. It was insane.
Yeah, that's old school. Like back in the day when Guido D'Acqua was out there, and some of these other, Dale Coyne was driving a stock block Buick, and it was blowing a whale out 5 laps into the race. Like that's when people would get lapped eight times. Like it was back when Paul Tracy was leading Phoenix by 2 laps and ate it, and then that's the kind of domination that Iowa Speedway race was for Newgarden.
Yeah, plus RHR was the coolest fireball I ever saw.
Well, Hondas are good for those sort of things. Just ask Fernando Alonso.
I know. Still, but I still fully believe that Alonso will be full time next year.
I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it.
I do not see him re-signing with McLaren. I can tell you that much.
But I do think Honda wants him, and I think he kind of set the tone to go with the Honda wagon, and he saw that when they have things right, it's actually a really good thing to run.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what is that, 2 Hondas in a row? Or, how many Hondas have won the 500 now in the last, has a Chevy won it in the last couple of years?
Pablo Montoya won in 15.
Right. Yep.
That's
one.
Montoya, and then what was it? Ryan Hunter-Reay in 14. 13 was Tony Kanaan in a Chevy for KPMG, LV, whatever, every letter in the alphabet. 2012 was
dude that
was
Tony
Dario
Kanaan
Franchitti.
I know, yeah.
And Honda, and for Tarjay.
No, it was a Chevy. Oh no, that was a Honda. It was a Honda.
That was a Honda for Cheap Ganassi.
But that was back when Honda was everything.
And then
I still can't get over how Dario Franchitti's all was it 4? It's 4, right? Yeah. All 4 Indy 500 wins ended under caution.
3.
Is it 3?
3.
Okay.
The club of 4 is only 3 men.
Yeah. what, Rick Mears,
AJ
Unser,
Foyt, Al Unser, and Rick Mears.
Yeah.
3 wins is Alio,
a bunch of people.
Bobby Unser, Dario, Lone Star JR. That's the 4 that come to me at the moment.
Yeah, but there's a few others there. I just can't place my finger on right at the moment. But yeah,
yeah. So Chevy only has won
2.
the 2 Indy 500 since the engine
Yeah, since 2012.
thing changed in 2012. Yeah.
No. 2 out of, so that's 2 out of 5.
Yeah.
2 to 5. Wow, okay. Right on. So, yeah, Honda does have it on the ovals, but you're saying Penske's going to win Pocono, so.
Yeah, I think that
I don't think so,
Newgarden's going to win, but
I don't know, man. I don't see it. And the biggest wild card of the whole season, I think, is Gateway, and there's only one driver, Elio Castroneves, who's ever raced and won there, so he's got to step.
raced and won. But you have Antoine Canan is also, that's his Facebook name actually. When you look it up and it says Antoine Canan, that's his actual legitimate Facebook. But
And his name is still like 3 times longer than that.
yeah, and then
TK is so much easier.
yeah. I mean, he stole it from Tommy Kendall, but it's okay. It's all fine. Well, it's the same thing with Elio Castro Neves is Elio Castro dash Neves, and Kenny Mayne used to always emphasize that, which was great. And
right.
He should go back to that, which would be cool.
Speaking of Elio there, gut feeling, does Elio go to sports car next year?
I think he will. And I think that he will under the pretense that he'll get to choose. They'll run a 4th car in whatever races that don't like conflict, or he's going to run Indy for sure. He's going to get to run whatever whatever that isn't affected by the Acura sports car program. I think he will run, but he's going to run Indy for sure next year, and I wouldn't be surprised if Monterier also runs Indy next year. Look, if AJ Foyt called him that, then it's all right for everybody else. All right. How do you think that guy ran out there? Well, that Monterier there was pretty good. Well, I'd say so.
What do you think
too.
about the new car? Speaking of Monterier, he's been test driving them all.
Yeah, the new IndyCar is just awesome. It finally is back to, I love the look of the 90s, the cars in the 90s, and I even liked the Swift, the 1 year that they ran the Swift in the Champ Car series. I was a
big fan of the Swift. I was hoping they were going to go, remember with the few other concept chassis before they picked the DW12.
Yeah, I mean, I know why they went there, money grab, but I wanted
the Swift so bad.
Because I mean, that's probably the best thing that King Hero has ever done, was buying Swift, and they've made some really cool, strong designs, and the concepts they had for that IndyCar that year were as strong, if not the strongest. And this car now, it took them 6 years to get to where they needed to be, but now they have it to where they have a car that looks cool, is safe, and it looks fast. This is a perfect example. When a car looks fast when it's stopped,
yeah,
you've got something.
Yeah,
this car looks fast standing still.
Yeah, I mean, and the colors on the Chevy, which, like, I can't wait for Carlin, because Carlin's paints, the Carlin's livery on his car is like, it complements this car so well, doesn't it? Because the Chevy looks like a Carlin car, and I don't know what Honda's doing with its it put on the wrong 2 socks in the morning paint job or livery that's on that thing, but it doesn't matter. It still looks awesome. But
yeah, I personally think that once you put these actual paint schemes on the cars are going to look great. I mean, finally, instead of having those stupid blockers blocking some of the sponsorships and stuff, it'll actually be easy to read, and it'll be easier for
this promotes, like, I think it was like 12% more sponsor space.
Yeah.
Somehow, some way, because it doesn't have those big flare ups. I mean, sort of a little bit, but not as dramatic as the other one. And like you said, all those other pieces that just kind of block the whole car. This thing's just one nice, sleek looking, simplified formula car. I love it.
Yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. And
exactly. Open wheel racing should be open wheel. I mean, if Indy Lights can do it, Pro Mazda can do it, USF can do it, and they're kids.
Yeah, and they finally got rid of the stupid hood scoop, like the air intake too, which has been an IRL
it just makes
thing.
It just makes me think of the glory years of when I first started loving IndyCar back in '92.
Yeah, I mean, literally, if I'm looking at the car right now, I look at the car right now, and the only thing that's missing from this compared to like the Swift or some of them other cars is the pop-off valve, which was back in the day. The turbo now is actually regulated better now than when they had that pop-off valve. Mm-hmm. So then that whole entire back end, especially in super speedway form, is just like gangster. I mean, it's just
this thing
awesome.
Is going to set at least it's probably going to be the second fastest car to ever race at Indy next year.
Yeah, that's if they actually opened up the motors a little bit,
and they got so much more to go with those engines. They can push out so much more. Twin turbo V6s, you getting?
Yeah, I mean, this is the reality that they messed up on, which is if they had went with 2.4 liter or 2 liter, one or the other.
What, 4 cylinders?
No, 6 cylinders.
I was gonna say, because USF and Pro Mazda is a 2 liter 4-cylinder.
Yeah. I mean, you could have went with a 2.4 liter or 2 liter. Like they had I forget what it was. There was like a global racing engine. I think it might have been
2.6.
A 2.0 liter 4-cylinder.
Okay.
And if you ran a twin turbo 2 liter 4-cylinder, and they're so desperate for this third manufacturer. Well, newsflash.
I think it's going to be Mazda.
I mean, well, that's the seemingly the easy one because they carry the freaking torch.
That's what I mean.
Open wheel racing. And Mazda.
That's what I mean. Like, and make no mistakes. Like the reason this new build even exists is to promote more engine manufacturers because they don't gain anything from the aero. They just want their engines tested, and IndyCar is perfect for that.
Yeah, and
so
that's how it was back in the day when Alpha had
prototypes are expensive.
Yeah, well, that's the World Endurance Championships proof of that. I mean, it's the Le Mans 24 Hours almost became like the
Audi.
I mean, that was show. Well, it wasn't even about that. It was an Audi show because it was the same way as Porsche had it back before because they had the best reliability and they had fast cars. Then
I guess Toyota's finally going to win now. Then.
Well, yeah, no, and if they don't win, it's going to be an LMP2, which all of them have the same engine. Yeah. Which this is the craziest part I have to say about prototype racing as going off onto another part, but a topic where the U.S. the U.S. prototype. IMSA. I'm not going to call it the IMSA prototype series. I'm not going to call it by the stupid name they have for it because it's ridiculous.
WeatherTech
Championship. No, but the class. I'm talking about the class. What they named the class. The
P2 or DPI.
Yeah. DPI. It's ridiculous. The prototype 2 that they utilize
the Ligier.
The Ligier, the whatever, every chassis they have, I'm no GM guy. The Cadillac is nice, but
It's
I don't like
humongous
them.
looking.
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is, the reality is they have the best prototype class in the world. How can this be proven? Simple. Roger
Numbers.
Penske, Reinhold Yost, General Motors, Nissan, Mazda, Acura, and then add the privateer group that's running competitive,
Mhm.
like JDC Miller,
Yep.
the
JDC's strong, man.
Troy Fliss with his car now that he switched. I mean, that is the best prototype class in the world.
Well, I'm looking
And
forward
that's
to LMP3 next year, to be honest.
and that I mean, once they bring those, because they have that in the whatever prototype, I forget what they call that, IMSA Challenge
Yeah, the prototype,
series.
yeah, you got
The
it right on
prototype
there.
lights and
Yeah.
the whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Once they bring
Our
those
buddy
LMP3
Picnic,
cars,
our buddy Picnic and Tazio Otis does the Mazda prototype lights there.
those cars are really, I mean, those are really cool cars, and that's something that, and if you can drive those things well, I'm pretty sure it translates, and it has,
Oh yeah,
to moving up to the bigger cars. And now that those LMP3s are coming over here, those LMP3s are strong as well. They seem to run well, and I think there's going to be a point where, because of the WEC prototype 1 car is basically going away,
yeah.
they're probably going to have to give the call to. It's funny that America deviated off of what the ACO did, and in the end, for once, America actually won in this case.
Unfortunately.
And, I mean, I guess it's unfortunate for Le Mans 24 Hours, but it's fortunate for us because we get three of the biggest races are here.
Well, it's unfortunate for just sports car prototype, race lovers, because we got to deal with basically spec LMP2s. Like, big deal. I mean, it's the DPI is a joke, and it's only equivalent to an LMP2 and WEC FIA. So and the LMP1 class is going away because there's just nobody left. I mean, I loved it when Audi and Porsche and Toyota and everybody were there.
Well, that's money.
I know.
And it's the same thing happened. It happened a decade ago. It happened 2 decades ago. It happened a decade ago.
Yeah,
it happened 3 decades ago.
What happened?
It happens every 10 years.
Mercedes, what happened to what happened to Peugeot? Where'd they go?
Yeah, they went rally raid racing. I mean, that's
what IMSA has to do is they have to cut back on the GTD class, the number of entrants. It's insane. And they need to start, promoting more of the GTLM class and giving back, some more cars there, because
how can you? It's a money thing there too. It's all factories. How are you gonna? The point is, the Chip Ganassi runs 4 cars at Le Mans, but otherwise he runs 2 cars on each side of the pond. Chevy runs 2 cars here. They only run 2 cars in Europe once a year.
Yeah.
And then I think they have a customer car with Labra or whatever, but they don't run a full schedule.
No.
Mm-mm. The Ferrari is the only one that has
older model.
Yeah, it's a year-old model.
Yeah.
So the Ferrari is the only one that runs on both sides of the pond.
Yeah.
Porsche does actually too. Okay, Porsche does as well.
Porsche is the only saving grace there, but there's only 2 of them in GTLM. I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean,
it's the factory team. That's it.
Yeah, it's the factory Porsche team, and I mean, maybe with their moving out, I mean, I know that there's going to be a move probably to Formula E.
Well, I think Porsche's pulling the sports car program away. They're just pulling their their prototype program away.
Which means that they're going to have people and stuff to either move.
Well, they still need to, race the Caymans and the 911s and all for, what they do from the first place.
Yeah, I mean,
so
they'll have more GT cars out there, which is the bread and butter.
They have their own class, really, now. Yeah. GT3 Cup.
But, well, they always have. They've had that for
but decades. They need to step up the car there. I think they need to go with a new car next year.
Yeah, well, that's probably going to happen. But I think the move for Porsche will probably be Formula E, or they'll probably come
which is
stateside, which will add another manufacturer to the mix here, which would be great.
I would love to see
I'll
Porsche back. You
say
kidding?
this.
I would love to see Porsche back.
I'll say this: the prototypes may not be the most aesthetically pleasing products out there compared to the Ferrari 333 SP, which is one of my favorite cars of all time, or the
Porsche
GTP cars, the GTP cars of yesteryear, the Eagle, the
what's your
Nissan.
What's your favorite prototype of all time?
Favorite prototype of all time is two-pronged for me. When I actually got racing in 92, 93, that was the end of the GTP era, so I'd missed all of the glory years of that. I loved the Mazda that won Le Mans, and it's a cool looking car. It's a crazy paint scheme. I think I love that car mainly because of that freaking four-rotor engine. That's music to my ears listening to that thing. But it's a Ferrari. The Ferrari was cool. It looked better than any of those other cars, and it had the V12. I mean, it's Ferrari. When you talk about Ferrari, you think about Ferrari. It's about a V12.
Yep.
That's why I like the 550 Maranello when that ran in GTS. You know, it's just that I love that car. That car, and when it ran at Daytona. Oh my goodness, I can hear right now. I can see it right now. Max Pappas weaving through the traffic and running 200 miles an hour down Daytona's pit road to put tires on to try to pass Wayne Taylor's anger on the racetrack and his ego and his humongous ego. But you know,
his sons are putting it down though, man. I gotta tell you, his sons are.
It's easy when you have an advantage.
I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Wayne Taylor in the IndyCar in the next 2 years, man, with his kids. I'm telling you.
I mean, the point is, if
one's
GM
already tested, you know.
I mean, if GM wants him there, then why wouldn't he? It probably isn't that hard of a reach. I think cost-wise, I don't think, and especially now with the universal kit, it shouldn't be as bad.
So, okay, all right, Phil. So, I mean, you know, anyway, I already said my favorite prototype, you know, the Porsche 917, but I always love that car. You know, just the look of it with the Golf livery. Yeah, it's always been a favorite. But okay, so I mean, we're kind of in unanimous, opinion here on, you know, the third any manufacturer coming to IndyCar will probably be Mazda. More than likely, makes the most sense, right?
I would say so.
Right. Okay. So
until they go and change, I think if and when the next discussion is the engine, and if they go to a production based, either a 4 or 6 cylinder engine, and they do twin turbo, single turbo, whatever, they open up the list for, say, I was a Kia owner for 8 years. Now I have a Hyundai. They have some of the best motors and they have some of the highest quality, and they don't have a
we just bought a brand new Kia.
Yeah. They have one of they do not have a quote major motorsport involvement, or haven't in a long, long time. I mean, Hyundai does the World Rally Championship. But,
well, you know, Kia's in Conti. So.
Yeah, they have Continental Tire, and they used to be in.
They won a couple
World
championships.
Challenge. Yeah, they were in World Challenge with the Optima, which was cool.
Yeah, with the GDI motor. That's the reason we bought the car, was because of that GDI motor that's in it. It's beautiful. Love it. Yeah. 4-cylinder turbo, 36 miles a gallon. You kidding?
Yeah, that's crazy. That's really good.
No, it's awesome, man. Love it. So, at any rate, that was a big deviation.
Yeah.
All right, let's get back on track here. All right, so, okay, sports car racing. I mean, we can go on and on about it, but IMSA just drives me nuts. It really does. The WEC following IMSA's footsteps is driving me even more nuts. But whatever. What are you going to do?
It's the WEC it's going the way it's always went. I'm not shocked by it. The fact that they're going to a common when they set the tone by saying, "Oh, you can only run one of 4 chassis and you have one engine." I mean, that's just backwards, because the fact is the LMP2 class was holding up the fort with multiple engine manufacturers, mainly Nissan, but multiple engine manufacturers and multiple chassis brands.
Yeah.
And there was nothing wrong with it. And there were still 3 manufacturers in LMP1. Then you cut the legs out of LMP2 people, thinking that's going to bring up LMP1 people when they have no chance of winning overall. That's just dumb. And then they're like, oh, let's go to America. We might have a little more open. We'll have the same 4 narrow chassis choices, but we could go and run a different engine, or we can get a manufacturer involvement.
Yep.
But the point is, I'll take this, what we
Over,
have minus or what we have in WEC, because there isn't going to be any competition.
No.
It's basically going to be an overrated GT1, GT2 championship next year.
Pretty much.
There's no point of having a prototype class when Toyota's going to run by itself. It's as dumb as when Corvette ran against each other for like 5 years in a row before they decided to make a GT2 car. That's really what it was. The Viper and had some competition, and then Viper and Corvette got together. Viper had it at first, and then their car got so old.
Porsche.
And Vet was newer.
And then Porsche started taking over.
Porsche just
Falcon
fixed
Tire
that
Porsche, to be more specific. But,
I missed that car.
And then the GTLM class goes and just cuts the legs out from everybody and makes it a common tire. Like, that's what forced out the Falcon Tire Porsche was, Falcon Tire is like, I'm not going to sponsor a car that we have different tires on. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, that's there's common tires in all 3 of the 4 classes. The only class that has open tires is GTLM, and GTLM.
No, GTLM does not have open tires. It's all one tire.
Well, it's Michelin.
Yeah.
But the point is they have specific people for each one of the teams, and I think they all. If they have a universal tire, of course it makes sense for them, because why are they gonna make tires for each brand? Though I thought that was what it was. That's news to me.
Well, that's why Falcon Tire Porsche doesn't exist anymore.
Well, that and the money the point is Derek Walker binned it, and be like everything else he seems to do.
Well, he had Falcon Tire money. Falcon Tire was funding the entire operation.
Of course, yeah, because it was using it as a test bed. Brian Sellers, one of the luckiest men on earth.
Wolf Hensler.
And Wolf Hensler was just a freaking beast.
Yeah, it was a great team. And Derek Walker, say what you will about him, he is a smart man,
Oh, of course.
He was
the right-hand man at Penske. Yeah, he was a right-hand man at Penske, and then he got this bright idea, let me go and work with, what is it? He went over to work with, what's his name? I'm forgetting his name.
Is this pre or post him, basically setting IndyCar in the direction it is now, which is up?
No, this is back in the 80s when he left Penske. When he was Penske's
Team Australia.
This is when he went with Porsche and Al Hobart. And
so
Al
that's
Hobart
his Porsche
passed
connection.
away. Yeah,
Okay.
Al Hobart passed away in a plane crash, and he took over the team, the Porsche IndyCar program back in the 80s, and that was basically what set he came in after that, and he set the tone for what Walker Racing and the whole Willie T. Ribbs thing, and then what eventually became Walker Racing, and all those years that he was in IndyCar, and that turned into Team Australia, et cetera,
Right.
et cetera.
Yep. The rest is history. Yeah.
Yeah, but
let's face it. Derek Walker. It wasn't for Derek Walker, IndyCar wouldn't be where it is right now.
Oh yeah, because guys
However,
like Miller were politicking for him, and he made some controversial calls, but he needed to make those calls.
Yeah, however, he wouldn't been able to completely. Jay Fry has been the best thing Holman Company has ever done. Was get Jay Fry in here to basically take over Derek Walker's plan, because you need somebody who could actually talk to other people without
pissing them off.
Exactly, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Jay Fry's got NASCAR. I know it's a bad word on this podcast, but he has plenty of.
That's the reason why we got Watkins Glen, for crying out loud.
Yeah, ISC. There you go. The whole, you look at how many of these tracks ISC tracks. The possibilities, hopefully in time, of getting California, ACS, whatever, back on the schedule.
Portland,
Possibilities of Michigan. I mean, Portland is Portland. That'd be great because that's a perfect course for these cars.
Plus, I think the Northwest is really being kind of, I mean, other than Sonoma, I suppose, just the West Coast in general is being a little bit. Well, no, I guess the East Coast too, because I guess we only get Watkins Glen and Poconos. They get Long Beach and
they get Long Beach and Sonoma and Phoenix. Yeah. I mean, the
reality I wouldn't really
is
consider
when
Phoenix West Coast, really.
Yeah, I mean, but the fact is, I mean, it's different time zone. I mean, most of the races are in the central time zone.
Exactly.
There's only.
That's why
I mean, I guess Indianapolis is considered Eastern time zone, which still kind of throws me.
Barely,
but
like you throw a rock. If you're an Indian, you throw a rock far enough, it'll go into another time zone.
Yeah, exactly. And so, but most of them are in the central time zone. And which usually used to be the case when they had Milwaukee, Michigan, Road America, which
Road America's just been awesome,
Well, it belongs. It just fits. Yeah. You can't
just like Watkins.
Yeah, and in Watkins Glen they had to make the changes to go back there, but now that they've made them.
Yep.
You have to leave it alone, and it's just right. And it's getting there to where, back in the days of, the kart, PPG Indycar World Series, when they had 16 races, but those races all kind of made sense. Yeah. They're getting there, and they're trying to.
Well, this is the first year we know what the schedule is next year right off the bat by not even seeing it come out. We already know that all the races that just happened, they're going to happen again next year.
Yeah,
so
which is
that's the first time yeah, exactly. Since the mid 90s, early 90s, mid 90s.
Probably, probably the late 90s before Andrew Craig got canned.
The evil split happened.
Well, yeah, it was the split happened, but at least kart had a schedule, like minus Indy 500. The IRL was whatever. I mean,
I threw my hands up and said, "You know what? Screw you." I came back when Surfers Paradise happened.
Yeah, I watched because
the Indy 500 that was it.
Yeah, I mean, I'd watch Indy, but then, it worked out that I was watching that because who knew? I mean, I never knew that I would end up, like in smoke, and smoke would literally smoke because it was a John Menard car and he drove it. So I'll always go and I'll say this: if he had driven for AJ Foyt, he would have ended the IRL. Him and Tony Stewart would have ended the IRL by 1997 because he would have won every race by 5 laps. But the fact that he drove for John Menard made it competitive because John Menard's cars sucked. And they blew up every freaking race, or there was some mechanical, or he crashed. One of those things always happened.
They were too much into Formula One at the time, I think.
Well, no, John Menard's cars always blew up because that was their thing. There were grenades. They were running grenades. There were 1 lap specials. Like they make the specials for
Justin
for
Wilson's F1 team, actually.
What?
The Menard.
Menard D.
Oh, oops.
That's a different thing. Yeah. John Menard is a billionaire. Giancarlo Menardi wasn't, but he ran a Formula One team for a long time, and then Paul Stoddard took over.
Menardi, I always thought it was kind of like the same thing or something. I get screwed up all the time. That's what.
No, Menard has a really ugly paint scheme that his son drives around in 20th every week, and then what do you call Jean Girard drives around up front a lot.
Right on.
But Menardi used to be in, and they actually were in Champ Car for a couple of years.
I remember that.
HVM, which was what Tony Bettenhausen's team was. Basically, there's so many the alphabet soup with that team too. was Tony Bettenhausen's old team before he passed away.
Yeah, sad. I just don't know a whole lot. Like between I'd say 99 and 2008 is pretty much like I don't know really a whole lot about the whole era, to be honest with you. I didn't pay attention much. But, yeah, but since 2008, I've been pretty much, all in. Well, 2009, I should say.
Right on.
Right on. So, anyway, okay, so you picked just Newgarden to win Pocono, right?
Mm-hmm.
How about championship?
Championship, that's a good... I'm on the IndyCar website. Let me just go on.
Well, it's basically Penske with Dixon and Graham in the top 6, I think.
You mean Graham Rahal?
Yeah, Graham.
That's one thing that not having Lee Diffie there anymore kind of stinks.
Graham
Rahal. Yeah, I mean, Newgarden is leading the points by 7 over Elio Castro Neves, an additional point to Dixon.
Dixon's always there, isn't he?
Of course. I mean, the most underrated.
Tell me about it.
Underrated guy, I think, in the history of IndyCar.
In the shadows.
Yeah, I don't know how you win that many races to be that underrated. And, I mean, he's carrying that squad.
I wouldn't say he's underrated. It's just his personality isn't very, you want to go. I mean, I don't know.
He's just he's cool as ice. And he's like Terry, in a lot of ways, he's like Terry Labonte, or he's like some of the guys that, some NASCAR guys that stood out. But, they're quiet, unassuming, but they just did work. He's one of those kind of guys, whatever he jumps into.
Yeah.
I mean, William, you got Graham is in it. He's 50.
There's no way, I don't think.
But there's no way because of the ovals. The ovals are going to end him, basically. He's never really stood out well at Pocono.
That Texas race last year was pretty phenomenal. I got to hand it to him. I mean, yeah. I'll give Graham the respect where respect is due. And what he's doing with the one-car team is pretty amazing comparatively to other sons of drivers.
Marco.
Yeah. Yeah. I think Graham has put himself in a whole new level. I think Marco's in a whole other realm of his own, really.
Yeah, it's called a Playboy Mansion. And if I was there, I'd be distracted too.
Pretty much. So, man, moving on. So, who do you think championship?
I think Dixon will come through, and because they have to put all hands on deck with him to win it, and I would figure that the Penske guys all being there basically will all kind of take points off of each other, and won't work in their favor. I just figure the 1-against-4 situation. Dixon just has a habit of winning championships in weird ways.
Consistency.
And a couple of years ago, when we're all sitting there on the live stream and we're all talking, and somehow or another, when Monterior had it and we thought he had it, and everyone was like, "Oh, watch out for Dixon." I forget, it was your old co-host, and next thing you know, Dixon comes out and wins the frickin' race and wins the championship. So I mean, that'll always go through my mind. I mean, that's just how he is. So I'll pick Dixie.
Still haven't heard word one from Jay since the morning of last year's Indy GP.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Not a single peep. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, what are you going to do? 10 minutes late for breakfast. I deserve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. Weirdo. Anyway, there's more of that story, but I'm not going to air his personal life, Heather. Yeah, it's all for him to figure out. So anyway, moving on.
Who's your winner for this weekend of the Pocono 500?
My winner for the Pocono 500 this weekend, well, considering the weather is going to be beautiful. Saturday, high 76, low 60. So by the time they qualify, it'll be every bit of 76. But it'll be partly cloudy, so I think it all depends on who qualifies the best and all that. Who gets a break in the temperature with the cloud cover, maybe.
Yeah, got the magic cloud.
Yeah, exactly. And normally, on Pocono, whoever draws like the last couple sticks really have a great advantage because all the rubber's being laid down and everything. Because they're the only series there that's really racing. There's really,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a few other support series, but nothing.
There's a really epic classic car deal going on with classic race cars.
They always
That's
do that, yeah. That's about it. I mean, and that rubber does not translate well with the Firestone. So, yeah, you figure. I mean, if you're the first 5 guys to go, you're not going to get pole. I haven't seen it yet. It's always been like, the last 5 guys that go usually get the pole. And that's really cool. Always watching them go around and looking up at the the tower behind the media center and everything. To see the lap time, and it's pretty cool being there on pit lane with everybody watching it, going, "Oh no," So.
And guys going and like a couple of years ago, when I was out there for another outlet. Then I was there, and I was
That's where I met you
guys. Yeah, that's where we met, and that was when I was staring at Mario when Marco tried to wipe it out in 2, and the look on Mario's face, I'm like, yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah,
and he had to start tailback, and then there was that, and then the Dale Coyne cars that were basically stuck together with duct tape, which was funny, but it made sense. But then we had interviewed
that day?
we had interviewed Tristan and Pipper Man. That was cool.
Yeah,
where is Pipper Man?
She called me Tristan's little friend.
I'll tell you something. I mean, this is a clean podcast. If it was my podcast, I would have went off on a tangent.
Let's talk about that off air.
Yeah.
Anyways, so all right on. Also coming up Thursday, Missy's lowdown for the showdown, presented by Missy Links. We'll have Christian on as usual. The racer who big things are happening for him. Really hope that he makes into USF 2000 next year. It's looking good. Fingers crossed. So anyways, so definitely, don't miss that Thursday for Indy Rivals. Hashtag Indy Rivals. Never too late to join our league. We only look week to week, really. I mean,
It reminds me that I need to make sure I actually pick this time, because I've missed a couple with all the craziness that has gone on this year. But
hey, we're just happy you joined up, buddy. That's all that matters. Yeah. But we just look at it week to week and brag. So, so don't miss that. And let's see. Never really get a whole lot of chance to just talk openly about some of the other things that we have going on, and just basically overall, the number one thing is all the listeners out there. Phil, you included. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing this at all. And all the just liking something, retweeting a few things here and there. You couldn't understand how much that means to us. It really does. It just shows that you're there and you're supporting us, and we appreciate all the support from all you guys out there. So, and if you're going to be at Pocono, don't hesitate to shoot us a DM and come out, and always love meeting new listeners and everything. And I believe Dan will be there. Dan Vaughn, remember with the cricket? I don't know if you remember that.
No.
Yeah, Dan was on with the cricket. It was one of our 100th episodes. That whole week, nice. Where we kind of just David Mulcher interview that was awesome, and then we had Yoder and a couple other guys on, and then we had this dude Danny on with us, and it was just funny. But yeah, Dan's gonna be there. Gonna meet up with him. Buddy Mike, who was on last week, gonna meet up with him. So anybody else that's gonna be there, don't hesitate. We always love meeting everybody. So, right on. Did I give him a prediction yet?
You gave it didn't. I don't think you gave a prediction.
No.
For the race or the championship.
Race win. I'm going to put my fanboy hat on. Willpower. I think he's going to take it back to back each year's. Podium, I think Dixon's going to end up on it, and I think we'll see. It's going to be a Penske. It's going to be Ganassi. either Will or Dixie will win it, but I think Will will, and he'll get the pole, I think, as well. But I want to
Homer.
see
No, sorry.
what Andretti.
No,
Andretti would be a homer
no,
because
you're fan. That's the homer, the fanboy pick. Homer fanboy pick.
Well,
You
yeah.
said Will for everything.
Not all the time. Yeah, I do surprise people.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, anyways, shout out to Mark.
Yeah, then go and pick Carlos Munoz. Then you'll surprise somebody.
I've been picking Munoz all year. What are you talking about? I'm the only one that's been that hasn't jumped off the Munoz train. But I'm not going to pick him for this race.
Yeah.
So, anyways, no, I think someone from the Andretti camp is going to make it there on the podium somewhere, second or third.
If they don't blow up.
If they don't blow up, and I think that someone will be Ryan Hunter-Reay.
That's
my podium.
a place that he's good at for sure.
Oh, definitely, and he needs some good things to happen because he's had some crap luck for like over a year now.
It's like 2 years. It's been bad.
I know. Tell me about it, man. So anyway, and then championship. I'm going to say Elio Castroneves, man. You know, I'll put my name on it. Elio Castroneves is going to win this championship some way, somehow. You know, because Gateway...
Make sure it has the dash in there when he wins a championship. That's his accurate name. That's his
right
accurate
on.
name. Elio Castro Neves.
When I interview him after that, you know, I'll definitely introduce him as such. For you, Phil. For you.
Yeah.
So anyway, Phil, I think we covered plenty more and then some. What do you think?
I believe we have.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Gabby Chavez, has been officially announced as Harding's driver for not only full-time next year, but I think they're going to race another race or two this year.
They're running this weekend at Pocono, and they're going to run Gateway, I think.
That's what it is. Yep. So Gabby Chavez will be at Pocono, and that's awesome because, you know, we're friends with Gabby, so definitely going to have to get a Gabby interview and a Ed Jones interview after qualifying, and see who else. And again, you know, Ed Jones, dude, he's got so much talent. He could win every week. He really could.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I wish him nothing but the best, really. And Gabby,
best rookie that Dale Coyne, I think, has hired ever.
Hands down.
He has been fast. His Indy 500 performance was a revelation because I knew his road course ability was there after his Indy Lights championship, but dude can drive.
Sure can.
Keep him. Please do. Give him the chance to do a second year.
Yeah, great personality.
With Ford A, and they'll do some real work next year.
Definitely. I mean, keep that team together because Dale's got something really good going. He just needs to get some good luck too, you know?
It's that Newman-Haas connection, man. You can't deny it.
It's true. So, all right. Right on. So, Phil, we're going to see you at Watkins Glen, right?
I hope so.
I hope so too, buddy. So, you want to take us out with the you knows?
No, you can do that.
I suck at it. Come on. You know that I know that, you know, and then you say something bad about me. And then you end it with, you know. Go on, you can do it.
Okay, let's see. Putting me on the spot. Yeah.
I know, I love it.
It's early in the morning here. I haven't had any adult beverages. You know that I know that you know that Frank Lynx, whatever his name, is that his name really? You know that I know, and you know that I know that I need a drink right now because I'm about to lose it. You know that I know right on. I slipped.